Hello and welcome to Filmy Ladies. I am Beth. Here is Pitu. If you are watching on YouTube, you can see what movie we're talking about. It's a train that's on fire. So it is The Burning Train from 1918.
Yay!
We were discussing this movie a little bit yesterday after we had recorded another thing, and Pitu and I both had the day off today. So she was like, if I watch it, do you want to record an episode on it tomorrow? And I thought there's nothing I would want more than to talk about The Burning Train, which is a movie I'd only seen once before, but I love pretty much everything about it.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. Like, could this be any more masala?
There is so much going on. And I mean that's the thing too, right? Like you weren't watching this movie for like our podcast. You were just generally watching it. And then you were like, oh, by the way, let me tell you about the burning train, da 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 da. And the more you talk, the more I was like, I want to watch this
Mhm,
again. And then I
mhm.
was like, if I watch it, will you do an episode? Because it just everything you were talking about just sounded so awesome. And I was like, wait, I have FOMO. I want to be part of the awesome
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. That made me so happy when you wanted to see it because this is not the era that you love the most, and this kind of
Right.
70s flavored masala is not your favorite. So I was
But I'll
shocked.
tell you what I am. I
What?
am a person who very much appreciates eye candy.
Mm.
And I think the moment you sold this movie to
Oh
me
yeah.
was when you very seriously and intellectually informed me that there was a frame in which there was Vinod Khanna, also Vinod Mehra, also Danny Densongpa, also Dharmendra, all four looking very fine in the
Mhm.
same screen. And I was like, I think I should watch this movie.
Mhm. It's true for science.
Yes.
And then we are both wearing our neck scarves in honor of Jitendra, who is not in that frame, but does come later and is wearing a very jaunty outfit with
Yes.
neckerchief the whole time.
Maybe we could later like steal something, like be pickpockets or something, just to stay in character.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. No more ethics.
I don't know how to talk about this film without spoilers, so I guess here's just a spoiler. It's 45 and odd years old.
It's
Um,
fine.
the main point is in the title. And the more I think about this film, actually, the more I feel like there is going on in it, which is really fun because it is what's happening in the title, but it's not only what's happening in the title, and that doesn't really tell you. It tells you the kind of what, but it doesn't tell you the why or the how or the why it matters and all that kind of stuff. So uh, let's start, I think, with the cast because this is an absolutely packed cast for a big disaster film. I assume inspired by the Towering Inferno, which was definitely not the first of the disaster films. I actually did a bit of digging, and they go way back, at least into the 50s, if not before. Um, and there's a Japanese film about a train that can't slow down in the mid 1970s, although the plot seems to be quite different and like the reasons are quite different. So this is a great format for the Bollywood love of a multi-starrer, but it takes multi-starrer and explodes it into,
Yeah.
I mean, the cast is huge. We have those five men that we named already. There's Iftikhar. There's Asrani. There's Parveen Babi and Hema Malini as the two major
And need
love
to sing.
interests, and Neetu Singh as the three major love interests. There's Asha Sachdev as a Qawwali
Yes.
performer, and there's a Qawwali on the train, which we will get to because that's a highlight of the film, I think. There's Indrani Mukherjee. There's I don't know, Johnny Walker, right? No, it's not Johnny Walker, it's Keshto
Keshto.
Mukherjee. Keshto Mukherjee. There's all the
There's
uncles.
just so many people in this movie.
So
There's even
many people.
Sulochana in a tiny, tiny role where she's like
Mhm,
clutching Vinod Khanna and begging him to make the
mhm,
train stop. And I was like, wait, is that
mhm.
Sulochana? I mean, it's the multi-star of multi-stars. It's crazy. Did
Nazir
Farah
Hussain
Khan
is
watch
in
this
it.
movie and decide that she was gonna put all the people in Om Shanti Om?
Yeah. Mac Mohan is there, and he's called Mac because, of course, he is. Dinesh Thakur is there, and he's someone I wanted to. No, it's Dinesh Hingu that I. No, it's
Right.
Dinesh Thakur that I wanted to pay attention to. Sujit
There's even
Kumar is
Simi
there.
Garewal.
Sime Garewal, Ranjit. Like, however, it has always puzzled me that there is not a Kapoor in this film.
Oh my God. Well, Neetu Singh eventually became a
And of
Kapoor.
course, we have Rajendranath, who is also a Kapoor by marriage. We have
Right.
these two. But
That's interesting.
where are they? Why aren't isn't there one in this? And does that mean that this is not an ultimately A-list movie? Does this make it like an A-minus list movie because there's no Kapoor? I'm open to arguments in either direction, but it does shock me when I think about this that there's not a single one.
But at that time in the 70s, really the only Kapoor that would have been cast would have been Shashi, right? Because
I disagree
Shami,
because
Shami was
Shami
there.
could have been one of the uncles on the train because we
He
have
could
a
have been a
train with
doctor.
100 passengers. He could have been the doctor. He could have been one of the holy men. He could have been the police inspector. He could have been a different kind of pickpocket. He could have been
Oh,
like
he would have been great as the policeman.
rich commercial, like rich business dude. There are a million billion
He
places
could
he
have
could
been a
have gone.
king.
He could have been the king. We could have had Raj could have also done a lot of those. Shashi could have been Vinod Mehra's character, although
Hmm.
I like that Vinod Mehra is here. But Rishi could have been whatever also.
Randhir could Randhir. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean that's interesting. Yeah, there are no Kapoors. You know, technically Jitendra's name is Ravi Kapoor, but he's not
sure.
of the
No,
Kapoors.
no, it
He's
doesn't
not
count.
those ones.
There's kind of Prithviraj could have been on the train, honestly. Like
Prithviraj would have been the fire.
is the Og Kakola of this film.
He is the Alcacola.
Is there anything about the casting you would like to note in particular, other than that it is epic?
It's crazy to me that because I have seen Burning Train, but I watched it when I was very little.
Yeah.
Back in Nigeria, I must have been like in my tweens or something when I watched it, and so I didn't remember much. The only thing I
Sure.
really remembered of this movie was the Kawali because it is so amazing. But other than that, there wasn't much I remembered. I didn't remember the cast either. So when you started rattling off these names, I was like, what the heck? Why are all these people in it? And I must watch it. Um, and it was just kind of astounding to me. And it
They
has
just
like,
keep coming.
they really do. I wonder how big budget this movie was because all of those like handsome salaries that you have to pay.
Wikipedia says that it costs between 2.5 and 3.25 crore.
Okay,
And then it was a super hit. It made 6.5 crore at the box
good.
office. So,
Amazing. So when was the last time you had seen this? Because you'd seen it once before.
yeah, once I'd have to look. I think it was well over 10 years ago, I'm pretty sure. And I just had a memory of basically what's on the box, right? There is a burning train. I remember that Vinod and Dharmendra were in it. I think I remember that Danny was in it. And I think I remember that Parveen was in it. I will say that the women don't have a ton to do in this film, and that's kind of one of the few things I don't like about it. However, it's not more egregious than others, really. But yeah, I didn't, there was a lot I had forgotten.
Mm.
But I was kind of thinking about, I'm going to be doing some writing about this movie at about the same time this episode comes out. And so I was looking through things from this era that I wanted to write about. I was like, oh. And then I started discussing it. And when I rewatched it, I was just having such a good time
Yeah.
rewatching this movie and like clapping in my living room.
I was having so much fun in this movie. And even though it's like very enjoyable and it's kind of like high octane, like I know it's a Manmohan Desai film and it's very Manmohan Desai, but it also reminds me a fair bit of like Feroz Khan's stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but it was also shockingly a little bit emotional for me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I wasn't expecting that. Like when some of the scenes between Parveen and Vinod Khanna made me sad, and then the scene where Hema and Dharmendra kind of like reunite that made me sad. And then when all the little kids are singing the song "Teri Hai Zameen," that made me tear up a little bit. And it was just kind of like I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling all the feels." Am I on my period? No, I'm just watching The Burning Train. Is it
Let's
that
go.
time of the month? No, it's Manmohan
Funny.
Desai.
No, 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 no. It's Ravi Chopra. It's not Manmohan Desai.
Wait, I keep thinking this is a Manmohan Desai movie.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
No,
see,
it's
maybe
Ravi
that's why I
Chopra.
like it.
Let's go over the plot if there are people listening who
Yes.
haven't seen it. So we have these four, two bestest bros, and then two other bros who are their friends. So Vinod Khanna and Dharmendra are very good friends from childhood, and the movie
Mhm.
opens with them. And is it supposed to be Danny as a kid?
I
There's
think so.
three kids, and they are at the National Rail Museum in New Delhi looking at trains. And as they grow up, Dharmendra, his dad is a train dude, but he doesn't really care. He's more into cars.
Yeah.
Then Vinod becomes a railway like engineer, not in the
Engineer.
like toot toot kind, but the like designing
Hmm.
kind. Vinod Mehra is a junior engineer at the same place, and Danny is also an engineer of some kind.
Hmm.
Um,
And they're rivals at the company, which is important to note.
yes, and then at a railway function, Parveen and Hima perform a great song inside a like an inside out gold disco ball background, which I
Yes.
really loved because I'd forgotten that that was there. And Dharmendra falls for Hema and Vinod falls for Parveen, which is a pairing I really like, actually.
Yeah.
I'd have to rack my brains to remember what I've seen them in together, but that was a good pair. Danny is very jealous because he also is in love with Parveen and falls in love with her at this exact same
I
concert.
do not blame him. I related very
No,
strongly to
she's
Danny in that moment.
yeah, she's stunning and just so like friendly and chirpy and pleasant. There's
Yeah.
nothing not to love, and she's
She
like
came out on
red.
the stage in her red flamenco outfit with all the
Hmm.
sequins and her
Hmm.
beautiful, beautiful hair. And there was a flower in her hair. It was a little bit
Yeah,
reminiscent of the Akbar Anthony
yeah,
song, like the get up. And
yeah,
then I immediately wrote in all caps to you in WhatsApp. I was like, Parveen, in sequins, I can't.
yeah.
And it was just like, I was just like, ah.
I actually got up off the couch and was dancing along to that song. And I am no dancer, but it was interesting to try to mimic a little bit of what was going on, how much easier it is to mimic her than it is to mimic Hema. And you're like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I knew that, but like, it was notable. And they give them different styles of stuff to do.
right.
It's smart. So then there's like this big thing at work about someone needs to invent the new super train, like a super express, they're calling it, this mega fast train. And Vinod Khanna is awarded the thing, and Danny was sure that he was going to win, but then he doesn't, and then he loses his shiz completely. Would you like to
Yes.
describe the losing his shiz scene?
Oh, it was wonderful. His face was all like contorted because at first I was like, oh, poor him. Like, he didn't win the contract. I feel a little bit sad for Danny because, of course, I love Danny. But then Danny went very crazy. He
Yeah.
absolutely went postal. So, first, his face contorted in all these ways. And I was like, oh, Danny is not pleased. And then Danny took to this room where there was this like model railroad, which was so nice. And he started like attacking it and like doing all these things and making everything crash. And I was like, oh my, this is not a good look for Danny. And I feel like we're all going to pay for this.
And then they take, is it 6 years, I think, to build
Yes.
the train, and you see these overlays of Vinod like with blueprints and stuff, and Parveen at home reading a book. And we are led to believe that he's really not paying any attention to her. They do have a child. You don't really see the kid that much at this phase. Um, and she's just like, why is work everything to you, et cetera, which
Hmm.
I feel like we do see in movies some, but I
Yeah,
thought that was nicely handled here. In the
I think
meantime,
so.
Dharmendra's father, due to financial difficulties, has died by suicide. And
Hmm.
at the same time, Hema has written him a letter saying basically, uh, how can someone who has nothing give me anything? And returns her engagement ring to him
In the letter,
in the letter.
I was like, wow, you're harsh. And I immediately WhatsApped you and I was like, I would expect this from a vamp, but I do not expect this from a heroine. And especially Hema, who even among the heroines, I feel has consistently played the goody goody heroine.
Mm.
Hema never played any heroines that had any edge usually. And so I was like doubly shocked. And also, that one was so crestfallen. Can we
He
talk about how
was.
grumpy he is in this whole
He
movie?
goes from being this kind of bratty, spoiled rich boy who's like driving around way too fast in his muscle car.
Yeah.
And they're in Delhi at the beginning, and it's they're showing you all these like new mid-century buildings and everything. I think they're
Yeah.
outside the American embassy at one point. Like there's
Okay.
all these quite stunning footage of Delhi with no traffic in it. And you're like, oh, when
Right.
was that? Hard to remember. I looked up the population of Delhi at this time, and it was over 5 million people. So I don't know how they cleared out all those
I wonder
streets
if they
during
did a
the
Vanilla
daytime, but
Sky.
it was amazing. And it's very sad. And so then
Yeah, he basically loses everything overnight. He
yeah.
loses his dad. He loses his standing in society. His fiance basically dumps him
Mhm.
via letter and basically says, "I grew up poor, and I thought you would give me a good life, and now you're poor too. So bye." And so he's really heartbroken about that. And then he doesn't really feel he can be a supportive friend to Vinod Khanna either. And so
And
he just
he's too busy to be supportive to
Right.
Dharmendra, I
I mean,
think.
he's not even like paying attention to his wife. Where is he
No,
going to pay attention to the remainder?
right.
So Dharam goes
It's
from
best
being
to
like this
throw.
nice, chirpy Dharam that we're used to being a complete grumpy
Yeah,
camel.
he's so
And not
grumpy.
gonna lie, I really enjoyed emo Dharam. I
It's
like
not
emo.
a phrase I associate with him at this point in his career.
Yes, but it was very enjoyable. And you had, so the other thing you said to me that really made me go, I need to see this movie, is he walks into the train and there's a group of boys and they're like playing the guitar and just singing along and everything. He's just so grumpy. He's not having any of it. And he pushes someone's feet off of the, because they have their feet up on a seat cushion. He like pushes them off and then he glares at someone else. He's like being such a deol in that moment. And then do you want to tell the people
No,
what
I
he
want you to do
says?
it.
It says, "Don't be a schwaff." And the subtitles say, "Don't be a show off."
Thank goodness
He
for the
just goes,
subtitles, honestly.
yeah, he was like, "Don't be a schwaff."
We
I
will
am
be
going
saying
to
that.
start, yes, I'm going to start using this phrase regularly in my life and become even more weird than I normally am.
And
This
even
is
more
great.
Dale
Even
oriented.
more Dale centered.
Yeah.
Yes. So
So then
good.
we have the big day of the launch of the train, and it is all decked out in flowers, and so is
So
the station,
pretty.
and it's the coolest. And Durham had said that when the train was inaugurated, he would be there to wave the green flag to let the train go
Yeah.
ahead, but he's not there.
Because he's
Um,
sad. But he is boarding the train as a passenger to support his friend silently from afar,
yeah,
which is sweet.
yeah. Well, slightly later. No, it's there
No,
first, and he gets off, and then he
he
gets
is
on
there.
again.
Yeah.
That's right. And then we see all these other people getting on the train. Neetu Singh is escaping like running away from a marriage she doesn't
Yes.
want. Jitendra is a pickpocket,
Of course.
basically, and he is there. We see him robbing lots of people in a fancy hotel first. Uh, it- we've already rattled off a lot of the people. You will enjoy seeing them as they get on the train. I think of particular notice Simi Garawal as a teacher with a bunch of little children, and I was also really enjoying Asha Sachdev as a musician who gets
She
on.
was awesome.
Mhm.
She was absolutely amazing. I loved her screen presence and the way she like
Mhm.
carried herself, like very
Mhm.
kind of like she
Vamp
knows
kind
she's
of,
this,
right?
yeah, she knows she's the cynosure of all eyes. I
Yeah,
think there's a little bit of reading between the lines and some subtext that she's not actually so much a Kawali singer as perhaps she is potentially a lady of the
I
night.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
Courtesan or something like something
yeah,
a
of
little bit
some sort, because
fringe.
she's people are definitely like, oh
Yeah,
my,
they're
about her.
intimidated by her.
She
And
looks
then
so amazing in her red sari
yeah.
and her beautiful black hair. It's just the way she carries herself, just
Mhm.
full of confidence. And I was like, ooh, I love
Mhm.
you.
Mhm. I need to watch more of her. I've seen her in something. She's
Yes.
never stood out to me the way she did in this, and it was really,
Hmm.
really something. And we'll get back to something that she does. And then we find out that Hema is also on the train with her doctor, Navin. How do you say his
Nishal.
name? Yeah, Nishal.
Navi Nishal.
Navin Nishal, who is another of those people I'm like, oh yeah, you.
Yeah.
He never does much for me, but he's perfectly pleasant. He is a doctor.
Yeah. You know who Navi Nishal always reminds me of?
Hmm.
Who is that actor from Sleepless in Seattle who Meg Ryan is engaged to? Bill Pullman?
Oh, Bill Pullman. Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gives me Bill Pullman vibes
Yeah.
where he's kind of like, he's sweet and he's there, but I don't have a strong feeling about him. But also, I'm happy to see him, but he
Right.
doesn't have a personality. Someone else who's in that same mold is Parikshit Sahni.
Yeah.
Like there's Balraj Sahani and then there's
Right.
Parikshit Sahani. And I'm always happy to see Parikshit
Yeah.
Sahani, but it's not like I go
Not the
around
same.
looking for his movies. But
Yeah.
Naveen Nishal, Bill Pullman, and Parikshit Sahni are kind of in that same like little.
An interesting collection. So they all these people get on the train. Hima and Dharam see
Oh,
each other.
Asrani also gets on the train.
Asrani is on the train. He's a former military guy, and he's
He's
rattling
very funny.
about his boasting about his career. There's just the right amount of all these people.
Yes.
And then we find out, wait, is the Kowali first or is the drop of information first?
I think the drop of information is
I think so
first.
too. So Dharmendra gets off the train after seeing that Hema is there, because this is not a nonstop between Delhi and Bombay, but
Mhm.
they're stopping a few times. And he goes into a bar, and Danny is there, and Danny lets him know that this train is going to make history because he's fooled with the brakes and it's not going to be able to stop.
Mhm.
And he's out to sabotage Vinod's life and achievement. And he does not care how many people die in the process. We've been told there are 500 people on the train. This
Wow,
is
diabolical.
really diabolical. And what's interesting to me about this, it's not about wealth and it's not about a statement of either patriotism or anti-patriotism.
It's just ego.
It's just ego.
Yeah.
It's really wild, and he's really unhinged for the rest of the movie, which is fun.
He's
He's not
so
there
good
a
in this
ton, but
movie.
he's very, very good in
He's
this.
just like a true blue villain where it's all
Yep.
about his ego,
Mhm.
and which also means that
Mhm.
he's not going to get any kind of redemptive arc because
Nope.
he's not even doing it for any other reason except just for like self-serving reasons. Like there's no justification. And I actually really like the foreshadowing in the very first scene where you see the little boys and then you start seeing how Danny behaves, and you're like, you're
Mhm.
a little bit of a bad seed, aren't you?
Mhm. Mhm.
Just
And
like not mischievous, even just kind of like a little bit off.
so then we have the amazing Koali, which is
Yes.
all about how make friends and dance while you can, because you basically never know what's going to happen next.
Hmm.
But make of life what you can in this moment. And it is full of foreshadowing. And
Yes.
it is an amazing Koali, B, but partly because it has a woman singing, which we don't get as much.
Yes.
All people are on the train are like involved. And it's a train song. So to put those two
Mhm.
together, like, thank you, movie. Thank you for
It's
creating
so
this
good.
movie. That's so good. I have added it to our Filming Ladies Koali list. I don't know why it wasn't there
Yay.
before. I had forgotten about it, I guess, but this is amazing. And then things start to really go downhill.
Mhm.
So some of the people at other stations notice that the train is not slowing down and people are calling. Vinod is back at headquarters and I think he's supposed to still be in Delhi
I think so.
with Iftikhar.
Yeah.
There's some like, how do people get places so quickly in this that we're not going to worry about very much? But,
Hmm.
you know, Vinod Mehra has gone on to Bombay to help receive the train.
Yes.
So that kind of squares everybody else. While the Kawali is happening, Dharmendra, that's right, because he's found out. So he's racing in all these different modes of transport to get on the train and warn them as to what's going on.
Thank God he's a speed demon.
Thank God. It all makes sense. He steals a car, he
Yes.
steals a motorcycle. Like it's great. Then
He
he's like
doesn't drive like an
banging.
80-year-old in a Buick.
No.
That wouldn't do. Plus,
And
he's a
then
devil.
we find out that Danny, who had also been on the train, has killed basically the engineer, the like driving the train engineer,
Hmm.
and planted a bomb.
Hmm.
Also, we see him maniacally planting a bomb. And we also see that there is a member of the kitchen crew who's trying to turn on a gas stove. And I'm sure you can tell where that's going to go.
Yeah.
And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And they're trying, one of the things I love about this movie is all the technology they try to use to stop both old and new technology and all the communications that's happening. Obviously,
Yeah.
more cell phones. So people are, there's a lot of phones. There's like a light up board showing where
Radios.
it is. Radios that use All India Radio. All India Radio, Vinod gets on and asks them to drop a red, is it, no, he
A
tells
red
the radio to
fabric.
do it. Drop a red flag or some red fabric as you
If
go
you
by
can
the
hear
next
this
station to
message.
hear this message. And the only person willing to give up a red fabric is our singer, and she unwraps her sari in front of everyone and gives the sari
Hmm.
to, I think it's Dharmendra, to put out the window of the train. So she's so selfless that she's willing to, like expose herself in front
Hmm.
of everybody. And there's another woman who'd been asked, but she says, no, this is my bridal. I won't give it up. And this woman says, I will never be a bride. Here it
Yeah.
is. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh,
It was very like hooker with a heart of gold
totally.
coded.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit on the nose, but that did not stop me from like loving
No,
Asha Sachdev even
no.
more.
Yeah,
Like
I loved it
the
too.
thing about this movie is like it's so obvious when it's trying to pull at your heartstrings,
Yeah,
and yet it manages to
it
pull
totally
at your
works. It
heartstrings,
totally
which is
works.
hard to do because sometimes you can get annoyed with the director.
And
But
once
here it works for me.
Yeah. And once the flames started, there was another thing that struck me. I'll save it till later, but there's another thing that struck me that was like amping up the emotion to me in a way that I wasn't expecting. So it just gets worse and worse. In Bombay, they're deciding, Vinod Mehra pitches the idea of let's build an incline so that as the train arrives, it will naturally have to slow down. I don't know how they're going to build an incline big and sturdy enough to do this in the amount of time, but whatever they do it. And Mac Mohan is in charge of construction apparently, so he's there, which is great, obviously.
Given MacMahon's character cinematic
Well,
history, I would
yeah,
never put him in charge of any kind of like
no,
life-saving
he's
operations.
got a
So
different vibe here, so that is good. And I had to laugh because when the last time we talked about Vinod Mehra, you were teasing me about saying like, well, how far is his shirt unbuttoned?
yeah.
Here it was unbuttoned very far because he's helping build a build a train. But nobody else, I don't think anybody else's was. It was just him,
Yeah.
right?
Given that Vinod Mehra has portrayed medical doctors in hospitals with his shirt unbuttoned until his belly button, I'm always like shook. Every time I see Vinod Mehra, I'm like, oh dear, how much
I
chest hair are we going to show
I
today?
think this is the influence of Reka. I think she was like, do it. She's like, that's what I want to see. I don't know. And things just get increasingly bonkers, and we find out why Hema left Dharam.
Yes.
Let's maybe not spoil that for people.
Hmm.
We find out a little bit more about Jitendra and Neetu Singh. We find out just what lengths Vinod Khanna will go to try to save everybody. There's tension between him and Parveen because Parveen put the little boy on the train to go to her parents' house in Bombay, I guess. And
Hmm.
so she's all stressed out, like our son is on the train, and Vinod is saying, yes, but also all these other people. I have to consider
Yeah.
everyone. He's right.
She's
And
like,
she eventually kind
she's
of,
like, I don't care about them. I care about my
yeah.
son.
There's a lot of selfishness depicted in this film, which
Right.
I think is really interesting. But also, a lot of us under this kind of pressure are not at our bests. Hello,
Yeah.
kitty. Look at the cute kitty. Um,
She's very taken with this movie, I think, because she
there's a lot.
watched it with me.
There's
So
a lot to be taken with.
yeah.
And then we just have all these heroics to stop the train. A helicopter is involved.
Yes.
There's also Ranjit tries to escape from the police while he's on the train, and that leads to more drama and sacrifice. Part of me wants to list the body count, but then also I don't want to spoil.
Mm.
So I'm a little torn.
I will say there's a lot of Tyag in this movie. How did you feel about that, Beth?
It just is part of the package. I wasn't bothered
Yeah.
because it's not like weepy ma Tiag. It's
Yeah, yeah,
like very practical for the most part.
yeah.
Like once this, as absurd as this situation may be, once it starts, there's no.
There's no stopping it.
And I really love that, like, we get that koale basically half the runtime, which is 3 hours, depending on which upload you get. And so for some people, that's too long, but I say watch it anyway.
Hmm.
Um, it just ramps and ramps and ramps and never lets up, which I really love. And there's really only one moment of emotional relief from the action in the second half, which is the song of all the little kids praying that they will be saved, and the different faiths of people on the train all kind of
Yeah.
come together and pray together. It seems like a quite non-denominational song as far as I can tell.
So you know what's funny? So in my school, because the school I went to was like secular, in our assembly area, and often they would change like our assembly songs sometimes, but we would have like an assembly song every morning, right? And all of our assembly songs were like non-denominational. There were 1 or 2 years I remember distinctly that this song was on it. We
Oh
didn't sing the
wow.
whole thing, but we
Yeah.
sang two stanzas. Like this, like there were a few film songs, like there was Teri Hai Zameen Tera Asman. Then there was also the song from the Smita Patil movie, To Hamari Mutti Mein Akash Sara.
Mhm.
No, that's from Prahar. There was also another one. There were like one or two of these, like kind of like devotional, rousing the people, moral upliftment songs that we had. And this is one of the songs we had, I think, when I was in like sixth or seventh grade for like those 2 years. It was like on the Wednesday rotation or something. I thought that song was so effective. All the little
Yeah.
kids singing and like
Yeah.
Simi Guravala, like it teared up, and I was like, oh, this is so sad. I hope they survive. I completely forgot that this is a Hindi movie, and so it will have a happy ending. But in the moment, I
Yeah.
was very taken.
Not everybody survives, but a lot of people
Right.
do. And there's all this heroic action taken to try to, Vinod has to get from one fast moving train to another with a rope. And then at one point they're
Yeah.
like, there's a pole, there's a pole. It's like the pole slices through the rope, and like it's
My favorite
all.
was when Dharmendra is in the burning train and he's by the door and he's like, what's going to happen? And then the train that they have sent that is running parallel to the burning train has what my cat is batting at this stuff. And like it's very distracting. And so the other train is running parallel to this train, and Vinod Khanna is on the roof of that train. And at one moment, he looks at Dharmendra, and Dharmendra looks at Dharmendra's like, Vinod. And then Vinod is like, whatever Dharmendra's name is. And they look so happy. They were like, I was like, hi. And I was like,
Bro,
you guys,
not
like,
now.
this is not the time. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. And then thankfully, they keep it moving. And the
Doesn't
best part is,
Jitendra have a line at some point where he's like, yeah, but what are we gonna do? I
yeah.
think he has a line like that. That's great.
And then Dharmendra, and then Vinod Khanna says to Dharmendra, while these trains are moving at this crazy express speed, right? He's like, meet on the roof. Let's meet on the roof of your train. And he's like, yes, I got it. And then I'm like, what? They're so chill about it. I
So
was like,
chill.
it's because he's a Deol, isn't it? There's
Mhm.
also a very good scene that Dharmendra has that I love, where he's sitting in like the dining car and he has like a glass of water, and in the reflection he sees Hema and he's gonna go talk to her, but then her husband Avinash comes and sits next to her, so Dharmendra can't approach her, but he's like watching them, and as he's watching them he's getting more and more upset, and he has that glass and he's like holding and clutching it tighter and tighter and tighter, and then it like breaks, and then that's when Hema Malini sees, and I was like, oh my god, this is foreshadowing. Dharmendra did this so that years later Sunny Paji would break the jail ki
Mhm.
salakhein, right? And I was like, I loved that movie. It was great. I will say, like, yes, I love Dharmendra. Yes, I love Danny and Vinod Khanna. Vinod Mehra, I like, but I'm not like a big fan or anything. Jitendra actually really pleasantly surprised
Right?
me this movie.
Yeah, me
He's
too.
so cute and bubbly and brings
Uh-huh.
the right amount of levity
Uh-huh.
because Dharm is so grumpy.
So
This is
grumpy.
not the Dharm we're used to. And there's Vinod Khanna, who normally is, very like swashbuckling and
He's
getting
in
things
kind of
done.
Amar mode, right?
He
He's a
Yes, and
little lighter than that, but he's
but
pretty
he's very
serious.
intense. He's very
Yeah.
stressed. He's clearly a workaholic. This is clearly his dream project.
Yeah.
He's under a lot of stress at home because his wife has essentially told him she's going to leave him.
Yeah.
Like she's sending off her kid first, but she's kind of done with that marriage too. So he's not exactly a very pleasant person to
No.
see on screen either. So when Jitendra comes in his like all white outfit and his little
I
neckerchief, and
think
he's
this
just
is
like,
him on I
yes,
think this is him.
because of course you would wear an all white outfit
Yeah.
during a train journey, like duh. Um,
It is a
and
brand new train, to be fair.
to be fair,
So those kids
I
should not have put their feet on the seats. That was very tacky.
they were just schwaffs. It's fine.
Very schwa-
Speaking of schwaffs, I feel like Jitendra is very much a schwaff in this movie because
Oh yeah.
he's just like trying to like charm Neetu, and of course he succeeded in charming me also. My only sadness is I wish he actually had like a nice choreographed dance. I would have
I
really
know.
liked that, like a
I
little bit
know.
of disco or something. Having said that, I did enjoy the dancing that both him and Neetu did in the Kawali. I think they were
Yeah,
having a great time and I
they
loved it.
were. They
But
were.
he did provide that much needed like effervescence
Mhm.
that this movie needed. So I'm very happy he was cast.
And even when the hardcore action stuff starts closer to the end, he's really he is doing that, but he is also keeping it
Yeah.
a little lighter.
He's I have to say, like, as much as I enjoyed him, he was a little too cheerful in some of the scenes. It's like
Well,
literally there's people weeping, Beth, because
oh
they're
yeah.
like, "Main
Yeah.
marna nahi chahta," and then there's the woman who's saying she's crying and she's saying, "I don't fear death, but my children, they have so much to live for." There's all these people being like melodramatic and
And like,
weeping and
how will our
crying.
children find our corpses if we're burned in
Oh,
this train
so
crash? You're like,
dire,
that's a good
so
point.
dire. Yeah,
It's
it's
really
just like, how will
horrible.
they recognize our corpses? Like, people are like losing their shit.
Mhm.
Jitu is a little too cheerful. And I was like, there's being positive and keeping it light and positive, but you need to tone it down a little bit, just a little
Mhm.
bit, you know.
Mhm.
So he was channeling some of that wee Shashi
Yeah,
Kapoor
he
energy,
was.
but I
He
enjoyed
was.
it still.
Yeah. Yeah. There, plot wise, I don't think there's anything else I really want to say because I don't want to spoil the like particulars of how some of this
Right.
unfolds and everything. But do enjoy the helicopter.
I
If
enjoyed
you
the suits they wear.
Yeah, the
The
silver firefighting suits with big helmets
those were
and they do
great.
a lot of close-ups in the helmet so you can still tell who is who.
Yes.
Yeah, there's hand-to-hand combat, there's various attempts at firefighting, um, all while the train is just rushing, rushing, rushing.
Yes.
There's a lot of
And
crash crash at the end. It reminds me of a film that I like that nobody else likes is Raw One, where when they
oh yeah.
goes pummeling into Victoria.
I love like how you see the fire just like escalating, right? Like
Yeah,
it starts out and then it's like by the time the movie is rushing along, the fire is really taking over the
the
strain and
spread.
it's like it's spreading from compartment to compartment and it's really quite alarming. I will say like even though this is a 3-hour runtime, which tends to be on the longer side for me, especially if the songs are good and I don't forward them. I didn't forward a single song in this
No, they're
movie.
good.
But I do think that the pacing of this movie is pretty good.
It's
I did
excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was afraid in some scenes that they were going to do the fight scenes a little too much. or that they were
Mm.
going to do some of the rescue effort scenes too much. But I feel like they really kept it moving along. So,
And
kudos
because
for the
there's
editing.
so many different people imperiled on the train, you see different bad things happening to them. So like there's a couple that I think basically is engulfed in
They
flames
like
because they were,
asphyxiate to death. Yeah,
yeah,
a newly married
it's
couple.
really horrible. You see people
Yeah,
with blankets trying to run, to protect themselves. It's really awful. I felt like it was very tense to me at
yeah, it
moments.
was
And
very
I
tense.
guess if you've been on a train, maybe you can kind of imagine. And because the cars keep getting consumed by flames, more and more people are smushing into them.
Yeah.
And you don't ever see all 500 people, obviously, but it is getting tenser and more smushed as they go.
Hmm. And then while all of this is going on, as if it's like I should have known this, like I should have known from the foreshadowing, because like there's at the beginning of the movie, they when the people are boarding the train, they show you their loved ones who are like saying goodbye
Yeah.
to them and stuff. And there was a pregnant lady, and the pregnant
Right.
lady was traveling with her mom to the mom's house to have a baby, and her husband like says bye to her and everything. And then just while everything is going completely horribly wrong and like the perfect storm is hitting, and then of course the woman has to go because of course she has labor pains. I was like, not now baby, not now. And then Navin Ishchal has to come save her because of course he's a doctor.
Mhm.
So that's nice that they had a doctor on
Mhm.
board,
Mhm.
but still I was like, can that baby not wait?
Nope. All right. Something occurred to me while watching this movie that never had before, and I have not read about this movie extensively, but I don't recall having read about this. And I apologize. I'm going to bring the serious level way up here for a second. Is this a reference to some of the horrors that happened on trains in Partition? And
Mm,
I just had this memory of reading about, sometimes trains being set on
yeah.
fire to kill all the people inside, which is unspeakably horrible. And then I was thinking about how, well, this is not Yash Chopra, but this is his brother producing and
Right.
his nephew directing, and that is the person I associate most with partition
Hmm.
influenced stories in film. So I just kind of kept thinking about that, and it made me that amped the emotion way up for me. Once I had that
Mm,
thought, I couldn't unthink it, and I just it, and if it is, I think that's fascinating, especially because at the end screen they have this kind of message about the soul of
mm,
India survives and all this kind of thing. But I'm like, well, then what does that
mm.
say about it's all very interesting. So I don't know because
Yeah.
Trains on Fire have a specific reference in 20th century Indian history, right? So it's not
Hmm.
like, and I did discover accidentally that there have been instances of like cooking gas setting a train on fire much more recently than this movie was made. But I just kept thinking about that, and I wondered if you had any
Yeah.
thoughts.
I wasn't thinking about that at all, actually. I was just thinking of like disaster movies and
Hmm.
stuff, which
Hmm.
is a genre I'm extremely fond of. And I think
And
there's
that's
something,
plenty to be sure. Like there's plenty of
yeah.
drama from that kind of project anyway.
Yeah. And I think especially like a disaster movie that's set on a train is so much better than say a disaster movie that's set on a plane. Because
Sure.
first of all, that's going to be so much harder to shoot.
Yeah,
At least with the train, there's stops and stuff. But also I think trains are to some extent a great equalizer because
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
see people from all
Yeah.
scopes of life, whereas if you did this movie say like on a plane or something, especially in the 70s, it would have only been the very rich on it.
And they even talk about that a little bit. There's a
Yeah.
conversation they have about if it's
Danny.
becoming more plane oriented, why are we even investing in this super express train?
Hmm.
But yeah, it is we do see many different kinds of people. Now, are there poor people on this train? Probably not, but like there's,
Probably not. Yeah.
different careers, different religions, different, cultural
I guess there
identities,
are poor
stuff like
people
that.
on this train, though. They're probably the staff and the
Oh,
people who
that's
are
true.
serving you the
Sure.
sharbat and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, like the staff. And I think like disaster movies, especially that are set in like a thing that you can't get off of, is such a great way to show you like just sort of like a sea of humanity and how it brings out the best in people, but also the worst in people.
Mhm.
Like there's that scene where one of the people is injured and stuff, and Navin Ishchal is coming in like doing his putty and everything. And he even says to him, like, doctor, we're gonna die. So why are you bothering? And Navin Ishchal has a line about like, well, I'm a doctor until it's over, it's not over. I still have to
Yeah.
keep fighting,
Yeah.
And it reminded me a little bit of like, the Titanic, where they keep playing music as the ship is
Yeah.
going down because they're like, well, that's our job, that's what we do, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna die,
What
but we
else
might
can I
as well keep
do?
doing it. So I like how this I just like the premise of all of these people being in it together, and like,
Mhm.
what are you gonna do? You kind of have to
Mhm.
like help each other and stuff.
Mhm.
And it really helps to have a diabolical villain like Danny. I don't think I've seen Danny be this diabolical
He's
in any
so
other
good.
movie.
It's
he's
so
so
good.
off his rocker.
He
But
really is.
usually with Danny, it's like he's a smuggler. He's like a hench dude,
And then
like
often he's like, oh, he's the long lost brother. And then he comes back into the
right,
fold and either sacrifices or comes together to help defeat the actual bad guy, blah, 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 blah.
right.
He
Here
is
he's just
more
like
attention.
irredeemable.
Yeah. And
It's just completely
there's nothing like there's no principle here other than
mm-mm.
jealousy. It's not like, well, you all are drug runners or I mean it's just I don't know what movie that would be, but it's just like he doesn't have an ideology that he's sticking up
No,
for. It's just pure envy and selfishness.
he's just pure
Yeah.
evil in this movie,
Mhm.
which I
Mhm.
thought was very interesting. I actually was surprisingly moved by the scenes between Vinod Khanna and Parveen Babi because
Yeah.
I feel like Hindi movies don't really talk about like they never talk about like the intricacies of marriage. It's always like marriage is always the end game.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not so much about like, okay, you fell in love and you're both like awesome people and now you're married and you have a kid and in theory you should be so happy and everything, but
Yeah.
like they're not though. She's really dissatisfied because she thinks
Yeah.
he's a terrible husband because she's very emotionally unfulfilled by him.
Mhm.
And he's just kind of like, well, I have a job, you know, and it's just so interesting because you don't see that a lot. I
Mhm.
think the only other movie I can think of where I saw that, there's this movie that has Rakhi in it. It's called Trishna.
Oh yeah.
And that one, that has that in it,
Yeah,
where
that's
she
right.
then has like an emotional affair because she's so like sad. And there
Yeah.
are scenes in that where she's like, well, are you coming home for dinner? No, I'm busy. Like, but it's our anniversary. And like she's just having her anniversary dinner by herself and stuff. So I really liked both those sides of
Hmm.
them. And then I was really hoping that they were reconciled, which I know it's a Masala movie, and so they will reconcile. But when they did, I was so happy to see that.
I also
But
love that it was
also,
Parveen got to do
yes,
that because as we've discussed, if you haven't heard our episode about her in our Superstars series, I encourage you to because she's a favorite for sure. Not considered the best actress, and yet someone took a chance on her with this, and she did a really lovely job.
she's so good in this. Like in
Mhm.
those scenes where she's like hurt and her ego is hurt and she feels bad and she feels like he doesn't care about her enough. She's really doing a good job. I really felt for her. And I felt like they had such a great chemistry and they look so good together,
They
Vinod Khanna
really
and Parveen
do.
Babi.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I feel like
A
Vinod
stunning
and
couple.
Zeenat Aman is like my gold standard. Like, especially, how can you watch Kurbani
All right.
and not ship Vinod Khanna and Zeenat? But
Yeah.
Vinod and Parveen is also, they're just so beautiful together.
And she, in the beginning at least, she kind of brings out they both have a twinkle, which is really, really
Yeah.
sweet. Like they're very, they seem very happy.
Yeah. I know. And she looked wonderful in like all of her chiffon saris and her pearls. And she was just like understated glamour.
Okay, so two things. One, there's somewhere where she has like a dark, like a wine colored sari on, and I thought of you because I remember you talking about her in like richer earth tones at some other point.
Yes.
And then also the in the beginning, there's this stupid scene where the two men pretend to kind of I don't know what we're
Be
gonna say,
hooligans.
harass the other one's love interest so that the one can come and like fake beat him up to rescue
Yeah.
her. And unfortunately, this works, which is upsetting.
Yeah.
But in this, Parveen has this black and white diagonally striped salwar kameez on, and I was like, I
I
love
know.
it. So cool, and like these black and white bangles. She looks amazing.
But Parveen in the wine colored, like the Cabernet colored satin sari,
Mhm.
oh, I die.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I appreciate how this movie is trying to tell me that Vinod Khanna is like this great engineer or whatever. And oh my God, look how devoted he is to his job. And he's like so dedicated and everything. Like, yeah, I get it. But also, you're married to Parveen Babi. How dare you ignore her? I am so offended on her behalf right now. And
Because
you know who it reminded me of? Like, I
hmm.
know you haven't seen Roti Kapda Makan, right?
Oh, I have.
Oh, you
Yeah.
have?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So in Roti Kapda Makan, you know that song that where Zinat Aman is trying to, Lord help me, Zeenat Aman is trying to like, cozy up with Manoj Kumar, because this is something that would only happen in a movie
That is a
that,
mismatch.
yes, it is. And
Uncle.
he has to go for his, wait, don't be a schwab, Beth. So he has to go for like a job interview or something, and she's wearing this like 70s like printed georgette sari with like abstract like big flowers on it, and
Mm.
she looks so stunning. She has like a nose ring and her beautiful hair, and she's on the swing and she's twirling around, and it's raining, and there's
Wow.
that song "Hi Hi Ye Majboori Ye मौसम और ये दूरी मुझे पल पल है तरसाए तेरी दो टकिया दी नौकरी में मेरा लाखों का सावन जाए, like your stupid ass job, and because of your stupid ass job you won't romance me. I had such deja vu. I was like,
Mm.
Vinod Khanna, you and your stupid ass Super Express or whatever you call it, your Super Express is making my Parveen Babi unhappy and I will not stand for it. So I was very offended with him for a while.
The thing that gets me in that relationship, that and they don't spend a ton of time on this,
Yeah.
but like we probably are talking about it more than it actually has runtime in the film.
Yeah.
But they're so cute
Because we are
together.
Parveen stands.
Right. They're so cute together before. So it's not like, oh, this was an arranged marriage and they don't really know or care about each other yet or something. No, they fell in love and they're really cute and they kind of hurried and got married because they were excited to be together.
Yeah.
And then his job ate his life, or he let
Yeah.
it eat his life. It doesn't really seem like he's under particular pressure from outside. It does kind of seem like he's done this to himself, but we know people
I
like
think
that.
he's just portrayed as like a
Yeah, he's a workaholic.
workaholic and like
Yeah.
a really intense guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I know, but that was very interesting. I feel like Neither doesn't have a lot to do in this
She
movie, and nor
doesn't.
does Hema. Can
No.
we talk about Dharam and Hema's pairing?
And I've liked them together better in other films. Obviously, Sholay is
Yeah.
the gold standard, I think. As we've said many times, she does kind of give auntie vibes sometimes.
Yeah.
That was happening for me here. Part of it's the character because when we find out why she's left him, we hear, we kind of see some reasons why her personality seems to have changed. But yeah, I just don't get much off of them. And they have that song where they're like in a garden and I
Yeah.
did fast forward through that one actually.
Yeah.
I was bored.
I watched it
Artie
only
Berman is
because
doing great work here, but that one to me visually, I was like, nah, whatever.
now I know I am biased against Hema because I just don't enjoy her. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I know Dharma was being very grumpy in this movie, like not from the get go, but later after his heart is broken or whatever. Did Hema give off sullen vibes to you?
Yeah, she did. She did a
Right?
little bit.
I
Yeah,
don't think that was intentional though, right? Like she's not
I
supposed
don't
to be
think
a
so.
sullen person. She
I
just
don't
seemed
think
so
so.
checked out in this
Yeah.
movie. Like she was phoning it in. She didn't really care. Like even the romantic scenes between them, there was no chemistry. Like what happened? Were they having a fight off
Maybe she
screen?
didn't really didn't want to do this movie, or maybe she's triple shifting and she's like, I can't.
Hmm.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, it could be. She was like, they were really not doing the romantic scenes or the songs very well, where I was
Yeah.
just kind of
And
like,
most of what she does once the train ride starts is sit.
yes.
So and there are reasons for that, but she doesn't, she's kind of boxed in later in the film. So there doesn't, when you were saying that she plays goody goodies, I was realizing that the films that stand out to me for her are three where she is not a goody goody.
Mm,
Of course, Sholay, Sita or Gita, and then
yeah.
Netri with Shashi Kapoor. I really like.
Mm,
I think she's quite good in that, where she plays an actress who doesn't want to give up performing after she gets
yeah.
married. Her husband is a bitch about it, frankly, Shashi.
There was also Lal Patthar with
Uh-huh.
Raj Kumar,
Mm-hmm.
where she's kind of like a little bit of an avenging angel
Hmm.
person.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there are others. Those are the ones that stand out to me. I haven't seen
Yeah.
she's around a lot in the films I watch, but I don't tend to remember her for whatever reason. Sorry, Hema.
Yeah, she tends to have these very like vanilla roles, which I don't really enjoy. Like it's not very
Is she good
memorable
in
to me.
Charas? Have you seen that film that she does with
I
Dharmendra?
don't remember Charas
It's
at
a really
all.
it's a really amazing story about drug smuggling, and it's a big
Okay.
bombastic 70s thing, and I love it. But
Yeah.
that's the song, that's the film I think where she does the song called Ballerina, where she comes out of a
Oh.
sphinx.
Oh.
Got a fake Egyptian thing. It's amazing. But yeah. Is there anyone in this that you would recast for any reason? Since the cast is maybe the dominant feature of this film,
Right.
at least as a selling point, unless you are a disaster movie junkie. Um, is there anyone you would change? Because I feel like I would I like it if Feroz Khan were Dharmendra instead? I would, but I don't necessarily think he'd be better. That would just be slightly different, and I would
Right.
be okay with that because I know he's been an engineer in a Chopra film, but I don't really see him as a. I don't know. I like he could be in here. He's very fireball, obviously.
He's very horrible. Yeah.
They would have had to, I don't know, made him a cop also or something. I don't know, but yeah, I was very happy with everyone
I'm
involved.
always happy to see Dharam, so I will never ever recast Dharam in
No,
anything. He just gives me joy just by like existing. I see Dharam and I smile. I can't help it. It's like just an immediate reaction. Even when he's being grumpy, and maybe when he's grumpy, I love him even more because he's so cute. And I wanna be like, Papaji, have some lassi. Cheer up. It's fine. It'll all be okay. Let's go watch Sunny beat up some
I mean, he's
people.
in his 40s by the time this film is made. Maybe he's getting a little tired too. He's like,
He
do
looks tired.
I have to stand on this train for so long? Oh,
He's like, do they serve alcohol on this train? Because this is boring. Shit's boring, y'all. Um, yeah, no, he's great. Vinod Khanna is awesome in this movie.
mhm.
I love Vinod Khanna when he's just kind of like business, business, business. He's great when he's doing that. I don't see Vinod Khanna as this person who just like sits around. He doesn't have this like mellow energy that say Vinod Mehra has,
Oh, right. Yeah,
right?
no, he's not
So
mellow.
I love Vinod Khanna in this movie. He's awesome. He's very believable as that
Mhm.
like engineer. Like he has all these shouty scenes where he's like, "Lekin vacuum brake something something," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's right, vacuum brake up the car."
I mean, competency is attractive.
So attractive.
He has never looked better than he does in this movie, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And I am a connoisseur of Vinod Khan.
I mean, Vinod Khanna just lounging would still be attractive,
When
but
he
Vinod
does
Khanna,
his turn beating up or trying to harass Hema so that Dharm can come punch him up, he's wearing a tank top, a neckerchief, white pants that are rolled up so you can see his like cognac colored boots, heeled boots.
yeah,
Like, what is this outfit? But he's supposed to look like a roadside
a
Romeo or
ruffian.
whatever,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
yeah, so
No, he was great. I would have liked to see a little bit more of Vinod Mehra just
yeah,
because he's
he's
so
not there a ton.
charming.
Mhm.
I would have liked a little bit more.
Mhm.
Maybe like some of the fight scenes could have been shortened a little bit and we could have had a little more Vinod
And
Mehra because
he
he's always
does
so pleasing.
and he is like the little breath of fresh air in this
Yeah,
movie because he's jovial, but he's also taking this seriously the way he should. He does
yeah.
not have a love interest, which is interesting because he's
He's just married to some lady who I don't even know what her
yeah,
name
we don't
is.
really see anything. So his stakes don't seem to be quite as high. But yeah, he's very pleasant, I would
He's
say.
pleasant, yeah. And Jitendra I really enjoyed. And I actually think Jitendra would be
Yeah.
impossible to recast in this movie because he really brings such a lightness to the
I mean, it
proceedings.
could have been Rishi, right? But I'm
Yeah.
certainly not upset that it's Jitendra. I thought he did a really I did laugh when I was watching the credits because it says and above all Jitendra and I was
Yeah.
like
Mr. Twinkletoes
I
himself.
get it, but it was silly.
And then could Hema have been recast? It doesn't really matter
Sure.
because her role was so like unimportant to me. Like I didn't really care. But
I do
Parveen I
think
thought was great.
yeah, Parveen was good. I think Neetu did have to be Neetu because of the youthfulness of the character. And like she
Hmm.
does seem like
The
someone who
flirtation.
would try to escape out of the big house or big
Yeah.
hotel and run away from her wedding or whatever. Um, could could Hema have been Reka? Sure. But like it's not important enough of a character to
Also,
have
Rekha
to
wouldn't
be
have done
concerned
the
about.
tyag though. Rekha would be like, "How about you do some tyag
And
for
as
me?"
discussed, Reka and Dharmendra is a weird pairing that we don't
It's a very
really
no,
want particularly. So
no.
yeah, I mean that role could have been other people, but yeah, I'm pretty darn happy with the cast with the notable
Asha
roles.
Sachdev made me very
Yeah,
happy.
she was
I
great.
absolutely loved her. She was flirty, she was
Mhm.
sexy, she was fun. She looked like $1,000,000
She
in
did.
her red sari, and I was like, "Girl, you are something."
Mhm.
I really enjoyed her as well. Iftikhar is always nice in the little role that he had.
Oh
Arlie
yeah,
Burman's music is great.
great.
It, could I have maybe used a little bit of dancing? Yes,
Yeah,
but this isn't really a movie that has the big choreographed numbers.
no.
But I could have used a little bit more
I
dancing
did
because
like
I
that they
mean,
opened basically so like we get the scene of the train function
yes,
with the women performing pretty early on, so that's good. But yeah, it could have it, I don't know where we would have put another one.
yeah, I
You
know.
know
I
what?
don't think the subject
If
matter.
this movie were made today, under the end credits, we would have off on the side the whole cast
Oh yeah,
dancing as they get off the train or something
that
like
would be
that.
so
That
great.
that would be fun, but we don't have that in 1980.
And Jitu would be the ringleader.
Oh yeah.
Jitu would be the one telling them what steps to do. It would be so great. It would be
Oh,
like a
that would be
train
so
flash
cute.
mob, the
Be a
Super
new.
Express flash mob.
Hmm.
It would be
Oh,
amazing.
I want that. The title song under the
Hmm.
opening credits is so funky and groovy, and I love it so much.
I love the color blocking and the exposed photography that they use of
Yeah.
the train. It's very
Stylish.
stylish. And while I was watching this movie, I was thinking to myself, because I was saying to my husband, and I think I said this to you as well, where I was like, we have inadvertently become a retro blog or like a
Listen.
retro podcast, because I think our taste just runs so much towards like, 60s for me, 70s for you. And then we like a lot of the 80s also, that we keep wanting to talk about these people. But I have to say, and I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like an oldie. I am an oldie, but I don't want to sound like one. I feel like the 60s and the 70s just had so much style.
They did have so much style.
There was just so much visual style. Like even the amount of effort that was put in the credits and the fonts that are used and the typography and the
Yeah.
cinematography. It's like the movie hasn't even really started. It's just the
Yeah.
credits. You could be still in the restroom or you could be in the lobby of the movie theater, just like looking for your seats or something, entering the
Mhm.
theater. And, it's still fun and it's cool and it like gets you going, gets you in the mood. And
Absolutely.
it's like, this movie is beginning, y'all get ready. And I miss that style. I
Yeah.
miss that. I miss everyone's wardrobes, like just the
Mm.
the joy of watching their costume design, the
Mhm.
set design. I just feel like everything now just feels so vanilla to me. Like everything is cookie cutter and boring. And I'm like, just take me to the 60s and 70s where there's there's youth spa.
There's all of this.
There's so
There's
much.
so much. When I started, we have just recorded an episode that aired a while ago, which was on Govinda and David Dhawan movies. And my movie was excruciating to me. And this was the
Yes.
next thing that I put on. And I was like, I feel like I'm sinking into a warm bubble bath. This is
Yeah.
everything. This is where I belong. And every time I watch one of these, I think, why am I not watching at least one of these a week? And
Right.
I went to my list of things that I want to watch. It has like 200 items on it, many of them
Right.
from this era. I'm like, okay, great. I'm just gonna start
Right.
knocking out some of these movies. And if one of them's so good that I think you should watch it and we should do an episode, great.
Yeah.
Like, let's do an Asha Sachdev episode
I
because
know.
she was amazing. Let's find out. Oh, she's in the original Agent Vinod, which I have never seen
Oh.
and I really want
Okay.
to. It's like she's in cool stuff. So like, man, we gotta, and there is not an infinite number of these movies, but there are a
Right.
lot.
Yeah.
So I
And it's
want to
like
see
you can
them
like
all.
just keep chipping away. And I feel like a lot of these movies are not really part of conversation anymore. So
And
it's
they
like you forget about it.
and they were take a drink back in blog days. Like a lot of us were watching
Yes.
these and talking about these, and people remembered watching them on TV and stuff. And
Hmm.
probably the further we get from being at the mercy of what was shown on Doordarshan and stuff, these are falling from memory a little bit, I think, like you're
Yeah,
saying. And they are so fun.
I
Is
know.
is this movie an influence on anything today? I couldn't tell you, but I really couldn't. Yeah, obviously, disaster films still happen, but um, there's just so much style in this, and that
Yeah.
it is a fireball. This train is a fireball, and it just never lets up, and it's so good.
It's so good. I was actually thinking, like, I mean, I love disaster movies, but I feel like all the disaster movies I know are like Hollywood, or my favorite disaster movie, which also happens to be set on a train, by the way, is Train to Busan, the
Right,
Korean movie, which is
right.
horror and has zombies. And it's just, I mean, that movie is just perfection. I could watch it 1 million times. I'm very much an evangelist. I tell everybody I can to watch Train to
She does.
Busan.
She does.
Because can you imagine? I mean, this is great. The train is on fire and there's the vacuum brakes aren't working or anything because of one Mr. Danny Denzongpa. Train to Busan. You're on a train. You're headed to Busan. Guess what? There's zombies on the train and they want
Right,
to eat you.
right.
It's wonderful. Don't you want to watch a movie about a train with zombies that want to eat you? Because I do. I want to be one of the zombies actually. Because yes, when the zombies eat you, you turn into a zombie.
Right.
It's amazing. It's everything I want from life.
The disaster movie entry on Wikipedia where there are a ton of
Mm.
examples, you will have a lot of fun there. And I started looking for,
Oh,
so I searched 196 to try to get 1960s films. I wanted to see how far back they go. And after
mm.
1950s, I gave up because I was trying to do some other stuff. But I shouldn't say gave up. I felt very satisfied that this is a
Yeah.
long-standing genre in various parts of the world. So there's a lot here, and I'm sure we can find other Indian disaster films should we
Yeah.
want to. What I do not want to watch is
Mm.
contagion films
Oh, I don't like those.
because I mean that's
Well,
also a disaster. It's a
zombies are a kind of contagion, but I know
zombies
what
I'm
you're
okay
talking
with, but
about.
like a
You're talking about like
disease,
viruses, you
yeah.
know.
I mean, after I didn't really want to before COVID, but I certainly don't want to now. That is not escapist or a
I
fun
don't like
listening to
medically
me.
stuff. I don't like
Right.
scenes where people are wearing like lab coats and hazmat and stuff because it just gives me
Right.
anxiety and it's not fun. And also, it can happen to me. So I don't want to watch that stuff. But, like, for example, Speed is such a good movie.
Right.
I mean, Sandra Bullock, Keanu Reeves, a bus that's like just going on. Like, that's amazing. Do you like Armageddon? That's a great one.
I've never seen it.
Armageddon is awesome. You should see it. It's so
Yeah.
good. It's very excellent.
So there is a Wikipedia page for Indian disaster films. Of course,
Okay.
Waqt is in there.
Mm.
Kala Pathar is in there, which we have talked about. What was that for when we did trios? I think I talked about it as
Yeah, I
a
think
trio
so.
film. There are a few things on here, so we can watch some other ones, but
Mm.
it's yeah, there's a lot of things to choose from in the disaster
So
genre, but
fun.
this one was just I also want to say I think this movie looks really good in terms of the effects. Like I kept going from the fire even though I knew it was on my
Yes.
screen, but it was big and it looked terrifying and people are running through it and like the pyro effects and all I thought were quite good and like I don't know what's how they filmed what's behind me, but that is a fire on a train and someone is outside of it. I'm pretty sure. So like that looks scary.
I wonder if it's one of those model things that they do,
I
because,
wonder, yeah, or
where
like a
they set
train
fire and
car
stuff.
that is not really on a track, but
Yeah.
fire looks very close to where that person is, for example.
Our dear Mr. Twinkle Toes in his heeled
Yeah,
boots is
I don't
over
know
there.
how any of that works. Maybe it's like
Yeah.
overlaid or whatever, but I thought it looked great, and that's one thing I like about movies from this era is it's not done by computer,
Right.
so they did it either with models or with other kind of practical
Still very
effects. So
effective.
really, really, yeah, this really worked for me. It was so
And
much
I
fun.
think there's also something about fire that is so terrifyingly elemental,
I
right?
agree.
Like, yes, I'm scared of earthquakes. I should be because I'm not only from Mumbai, but I'm also living in California.
Right.
Like, I was in my grandparents' house in Mumbai when the big earthquake happened, the Gujarat earthquake that killed so many people.
Mm.
Our whole building shook.
Ugh.
It was terrible. I was fast asleep and the whole bed shook and my
Mm.
grandfather's cat jumped off and like I came out and my grandpa was just so chill. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's an earthquake. It's not a big deal." I was like, everyone is out in the street. We should go out there." And my grandpa was like, "Nah, I need to finish my puja." I was like, "Okay." All right, I guess. So we didn't go out because like I just hung around with my grandfather, just like clutched him while he's like doing his puja completely unbothered. And I'm just like, I don't want to
Wow.
die.
Wow.
Um, but like I don't find earthquake movies scary,
Hmm.
like it's not that scary to me. There's something about fireballs that is terrifying though, right? Like
On
it's just
the
that,
spread, right? And the fact that
huh?
it can, the spread and then also what they can set off and all the different ways it can damage. So like even if you're not near it, it weakens one thing that causes another thing to fall or like,
Hmm.
electrical stuff or whatever. So it
And
is
it's so common. I mean,
terrifying.
there's like
So common.
wildfires that happen and bushfires that happen. And then like what was that movie theater in New Delhi that many years ago, that
Right.
the whole movie theater fire that happened, and
Right.
there was a whole stampede and stuff. And so it's just scary to me. Whereas, movie like Armageddon or something, like it's an asteroid, whatever, like
Right.
it's just not that scary to me.
I don't want to brag, but we
Oh,
did
you schwaff.
I'm a schwaff. We did fire extinguisher training at work a couple weeks ago
Oh, okay.
at the second fastest time.
Yay.
And we had a digital fire extinguisher where you spray a digital screen like a video
Okay.
game. So really, I did really well.
So my question for you is, were you second fastest in terms of extinguishing the fire or in terms of like running away?
No, no, extinguishing the fire.
Oh,
I got a medal.
that's amazing. Ah, such a schwaff, but I'm so
I
proud
hope
of you.
never to need this skill. And would I remember it under pressure? Probably not.
Smokey the Bear would be proud of you.
Oh, Smokey the Bear.
We have
I
Smokey
am
the
a
Bear
person who's
everywhere here.
very afraid of fires, and I have um in the apartment I lived in before I bought my house, there were two fires on two separate years in different parts of the building, and we all had to be evacuated and go stay other places, and there was smoke everywhere, and it was horrible. And
Oh.
both times people walked away from a burning candle. Seriously, don't leave a burning candle unattended. Don't do
Oh.
it. Seriously. And then many years later, across like diagonally across the street from my house, that house caught fire and basically had to be pulled down completely eventually. And we were all out on the street. I had my dog on a leash and like my bag with my passport. I'm like, I don't know what to grab. Like it wasn't, and it was in the summer and it was dry. So I was worried
Oh.
sparks were gonna fly, and we had big, big trees that would have. I was really worried they were gonna catch. They didn't. It was all fine, but and no one was hurt. But it was very scary. Very scary.
So, and not to be a schwaff, but my dog and I actually saved my entire building back when I lived in Georgia. So what happened was, it was late at night. It was like 1 a.m. or something, and I was actually asleep, and I had a border collie at the time, and she passed several years later, rest in peace. And she started pawing me and whining real loud, and so I was like, what is up? Like, do you need to go to the rest? Like, do you need me to take you out to pee or something? Because she was an old dog at that point.
Yeah.
She was like 9 or 10, and so I was like, maybe she just needs to pee or something. She has a stomach gastro problem, whatever. No, she just kept trying to get me out the apartment. And as we were getting out of the apartment, I was wearing like my pajamas. So I had my pajamas, my little Sanyo flip phone, the cherry blossom one, and I had my keys with me. And we're exiting, and I smelled smoke, and I was like,
Ugh,
"Holy shit! There's smoke. What's
it's a
going
fire.
on?" And there was a fire. So I got out of there. I used my Sanyo flip phone and I called 911. And I was like, my dog woke me up. We exited my apartment. I smell fire, but I don't know where it's coming from. It's not my apartment, but I don't know what's happening. And they were like, okay, we just want you to stay away. Give us your address. We'll be there in like a minute, whatever. So they came. And in the meantime, they told me to call our apartment management office or
Mhm.
whatever, so that they could also tell everyone to exit or whatever. I don't know what happened, but like people started coming out of there because it was like a complex. There were like 5 buildings and everyone started exiting. And then the fire people came, and the fire had originated in the apartment right below mine.
Ooh,
And this was basically like student housing.
yeah.
What they eventually determined is the student who lived below me was like a Chinese immigrant, and he had never used a dryer before, like in China. So
Oh,
he had, in the last 9 months he had lived there, he had never removed the lint from the lint drawer. And so it
mm,
had all piled up. So it was basically like an electrical fire that happened.
yeah.
Because what he did was, because we were all students, right? Like he had done a load of laundry, dumped all the stuff in the dryer, and exited his house like at 1 a.m. or whatever. And he was not even at home.
Yeah.
And there was a dryer fire that happened. And so his apartment was actually on fire.
Mm.
And then they like did the thing, and then the whatever happened with the dryer, and then management had to like put notes everywhere saying that don't leave your washer and dryer unattended, and also please clean your dryer lint and everything. It was a whole thing. But anyway, not to be a schwaff, but me and my dog saved people.
That dog, man, they are amazing.
I know, she woke me up. I was like fast asleep. I could have been Jitendra in that scene.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, anyway, this
This
was an
episode's
amazing
basically
movie.
as long as the film at this point, but we don't care because this was an amazing, amazing film, and everyone should
we're
watch
like
or rewatch it.
we're like giddy with delight. Seriously, this movie was so enjoyable to
These make
watch.
me
I am
so
so glad.
happy. I can't
I
wait.
know.
Oh, the only other thing I want to say about this is that where was Prawn? Why wasn't Prawn in this film?
Mm. Pran was being grumpy. He didn't want to do it. He was
Yeah.
like, ugh, you have Ranjit, you have Danny. What am I going to do? So
I
he
need to
didn't
see
come
what else was being filmed at the time that, you know,
because he was busy. He was
I get
probably being
maybe he was
seduced by
busy.
Bindu. I could have used another vamp. One
Sure.
extra vamp wouldn't have hurt anyone, like the
I mean,
Bindu
there
or
were
Aruna
there were
Rani.
rude and unpleasant women on the train, but none of them were really vamps.
Yeah.
Well, Ranjit has she's more of a mall.
Yeah.
She's like putting smuggling diamonds in her bra at one point,
Yeah.
which was great. Who's that? Is that Camilla Verk? I think I can't remember
I'm
who it
not
is.
sure. And they were gonna go to Switzerland, I remember.
Right. Although I don't
Maybe they
really
were gonna
believe
go shoot a
him.
Yash Chopra song there.
It is
Um
Camilla Verk. Yeah.
nice.
So, yeah, could have used a little more of some of those people, but it's okay. It's totally acceptable and great the way it is.
Yeah.
I
It's an
just,
awesome movie.
it's hard not to want more, even though they've given you so much. You're like, but I see that more is on the table. More, 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 more.
Yeah. I want to see what other movies Ravi Chopra has done because it's not a name that I think of very
Girl,
often.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you very sad because I also thought, oh, is this a person whose career I need to pursue?
Yeah, because I think of B.R. Chopra and I think of Yash
Right.
Chopra. I don't sit around thinking of Ravi Chopra.
No. So I don't know about most of these films, but I
Okay.
have seen two of them, Bhagban and Babel.
Oi, girl.
Exactly.
Those are two of the most irritating movies
I know.
ever.
I was like, how do you make this and then make Bhagban? What is wrong with you?
That is terrible. Bhagwan is the movie that all Indian parents use to emotionally blackmail their children. Oh no, that's terrible. He's made Bhagwan and Babel. What happened to
Yeah,
him?
I don't know. And a
Oh
lot of the others
no.
did not look particularly amazing to me. Oh, I take that back. His debut film as director is Zamir with Amitabh, and that I've not seen, but I put that at the top of my list. That looks fun.
I don't remember this movie at all.
But
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I don't know. When I moused over a lot of the others, I was like, meh, meh, meh. But because really this was amazing. And I thought, wow, what else? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
And then he makes those two VPs. Oh, oh my. That's terrible.
And then, I know that you love Shah Rukh in a uniform and everything, but like the great
Yes.
Yash Chopra did end up with Jab Tak Hai Jaan, for example. So
Oh,
people can
yes.
fall,
This is true.
but
Jab Tak
that's a
Hai Jaan.
lesser fall than this.
Yes, yes. Jab Tak Hai Jaan, the movie I've seen 7 times. That is the one movie that I'm so embarrassed to tell people I love because I know how bad it is and I know how terrible it sounds when I say it because people's facial expressions change when I see it. Like when I say, "Oh my God, I've seen Jab Tak Hai Jaan like 7 times and I could probably watch it again today," and then they look at me like, "You belong in a mental institution," but they're too polite to say it, but their face says that, and then I feel really bad, and then I have to shut up.
I'm gonna make my ringtone you going, oi, just now. That was so great. Okay. I that's probably enough burning train, right?
That I feel like it is. But now I need to go and watch more fun stuff. Like this is amazing. We've watched some Bindu stuff. We've now watched this.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like I need some more Feroz Khan in my life.
Yeah.
Because Vikas and I were messaging yesterday and we were both talking about the music of Yilgar.
Mhm.
And we were like, why is Sanjayta doing random like kung fu moves
That movie
during
is
a
not
romantic
good, but the
song?
music is good.
Okay, but like I low-key enjoyed that movie.
Of course. Of course. No, there are moments. There's always a moment in a Feroz Khan film as
We should do
discussed.
another Feroz Khan episode soon
Sure.
because that makes us happy also.
Does.
And
Yeah, the
2026
more
is already a burning trash fire of a
it is,
year.
it is a
It's
train wreck
only
on the movie.
March,
Yeah.
but it's already terrible. So
I have so many 70s and 80s films on my list. So I need to just start watching
so
stuff,
good.
see what
Let's
happens.
do that. Let's
Okay.
do that. We need more happiness in our lives.
We do.
Okay. I think that concludes this extremely long Super Express episode on the Burning Train. Please tell us you watched it. It is available on YouTube. I saw it on 9000. And tell us what you think about disaster movies. Which ones do you like? Are there any other Indian disaster movies that you've seen? Because I don't feel like I have. And then, are you particularly familiar with Ravi Chopra's filmography? Because right now it's sounding a little dodgy. Anyway, we will see you next week. Thank you for watching Filmy Ladies, and don't be a schwaff. Bye.